Again, we're back. This is BBL TV. We're in Hartford, Connecticut. We're at Buckley High School. And we have here outstanding coach in the Hartford area, also in the state area. Want to introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Reggie Hatchett, and I am the boys varsity coach at Weaver High School.
Reg, over the past year, you guys won a championship. How does that feel?
Oh man, it's a great feeling. There's a lot of great teams throughout Connecticut history, but like I said before, you really don't get your name etched in people's memory unless you finish the deal when you win a state championship. So the year before, when I first took over the team mid-season, we had a great year, but we lost in the championship. So it feels good to get back and kind of come back after what we left behind the year before.
What are you going to do this year to instill in your young man that, okay, last year is over, now it's time, you got the Bulls mark on your back, now what do we do? How do we stay hungry for this year?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest challenges, when you win a state championship and you have a lot of guys coming back. Sometimes they got to feel that heat of, getting hit in the mouth or, maybe losing the game or something like that before they realize that everybody has their game marked on their calendar. So you're going to get everybody's best game. I've been sending text messages to a lot of the guys, making sure that they watch the Golden State Warriors and how they've been playing, because they came out realizing that they were going to be, the target for everybody. But what they do is that, they've been hitting everybody first, and that's the reason why, they're a special team. So I'm not likening us to the Golden State Warriors, but I do hope that, they can learn from the mentality that it takes to, go out, and you got to be hungrier than you were last year.
How do you feel the state of basketball is in Connecticut?
Public school basketball is really down. I think more so now than ever. Kids that are really talented feel like they have to go prep in order to maximize their talent and to get full exposure. Before, when we were coming up, when I came up, you had to be special to be at prep school. Nowadays, they're kids that barely play JV, that are leaving high school and going to play prep schools. It seems like there's more prep schools there are. There are a lot of them that are like fake and not accredited, and a lot of kids are getting jammed up, and parents are losing money sending their kids to. You got to do your homework and know that the prep school that you're sending your kids to has a history and is accredited and stuff like that. So I think that the majority of the talent is now leaving high school basketball and going to prep, and it's diluting the talent at the high school level. And what it's actually doing is making college coaches question whether or not a public school kid can actually do the work and can they actually play at that high level. So that's I think the state of basketball in Connecticut is right now. So
you're a firm believer that not only should the student educate themselves on the institute they're going to, also the parents.
Honestly, I say this all the time. There's so many great basketball players who don't have a man in the household, and I'm not saying it has to be a man, but a kid who does not have a strong support system, an adult with a sound mind, doesn't stand a chance. Because smart adults can manipulate kids into thinking things and believing. Like I said, to that kid that averages less than 10 points on JV, you got to think, like, why would a prep school coach be coming after me? Like, you got to be honest with yourself. So 9 times out of 10, if you're a kid who didn't make an impact at the varsity level and you got prep schools interested in you, they're trying to take your money. Because you got to understand that in order to play at the prep school level, it's higher than the high school basketball. So if you're not dominant at the high school level, then why would a prep school coach put their job on the line to come after you? So I think that if you don't have a strong man in your life, or you don't have a strong sports person in your life guiding you, because like I said, kids are impulsive and kids can get manipulated, but you need a strong adult figure in your life to guide you through that situation, that understands how to use the internet and how to research and things like that. If a young man or a young woman doesn't have that, so a strong person in their corner, they're like almost like shark meat to some of these sharks in the water.
So when it's all said and done, Reggie had it and finished with his career, what kind of footprint do you want to have in place where a student athlete can say, you know what, that man affected my life, not only as a coach, but as a man there for me that was positive?
I think that what I've been able to start and what I'm continuing to do is I've really serviced the community that I came from. I went to Mark Twain, Fox, and Weaver, and you know, Weaver tradition was very high when I was coming up, and it took a hit. It fell off. A lot has to do with the influx of magnet schools and the influx of prep schools, but kids in our community were being underserviced. And I think that, you know, what my goal was to make it so that kids from my community felt like they didn't have to feel like they had to leave the community in order to make it out. And when my career is done, I want people to be able to look back and say, you know what, he helped the kids in that community be able to achieve, you know, their educational goals and their athletic goals without having to move to another state or to move to another part of Connecticut. You know, like, so by bringing back the tradition at Weaver and by helping a lot of people with that process of going from high school to college, I think that I'm starting to achieve it, and I want to continue that for a sustained amount of years. So by the time I'm done, people will say, you know, he definitely made a difference by sending X amount of kids.
So, in closing, how do I want to put this? What is 300 about?
Well, if you've seen the movie 300, the Spartans were known as the greatest soldiers in the world. And even though the Persian army outnumbered them by millions, the Spartans knew that even though their numbers were high, that they were still the better soldiers. And so even though that they didn't have the same numbers, that they stood a fighting chance because they were going to be better trained and they knew how to fight, so to speak. So the 300, you know, like I mark all my teams with that moniker. The reason why I do that is because coming from Hartford in Connecticut, you know, Philly gets more respect, DC gets more respect, New York, New Jersey. So you gotta have that kind of a mentality where, you know, even though they come from a larger market, even though we're supposed to be the team that loses, if we're trained the right way, if we go into the game with the right mindset, we actually stand a chance against those giants from California, those giants from Texas, or those giants from New York. So that's the reason why I named my team 300, and that's the mentality that, you know, I want my guys to have whenever they face anybody. Like, you know, at the end of the day, they can have 3 guys that are 6'10" on their team, but that doesn't mean those guys can play. It doesn't mean those guys can put the ball in the basket. And if you train your body and you train yourself to perform at an elite level, you'll always have a chance no matter who's on the other team.
All right, this is BBL TV. We want to thank Coach Reggie Hadgett for giving us some of his time. We appreciate continued success to you in your Weaver program.
I want to thank you for creating the BBF. It's been a beautiful movement, and I hope that it continues, brother.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
All right.
This is BBL TV signing off.
Peace.